What's up guys? Man, I am so pumped today. You see, I have the Canon R5 and it is an amazing camera. I truly love almost every second of using it. It is amazing for photos, it records beautiful footage in 4K, but in 8K, the footage is insanely good. The problem is, the format in which the files are recorded, including with 8K, is not really edit friendly. Even with my computer being pretty powerful, it really struggles when trying to edit the footage. I mean, like my GPU's melting, the fire alarm's going off, my wife starts beating on the door, things get crazy. Therefore, to edit the 8K footage, I have to spend time to convert the files to ProRes, which is an edit-friendly format, or generate proxies, which are like junky-ish mini-me's of the original files, which is not great when you want to have an extremely efficient workflow, and I am all about efficiency. Another problem is, when you record 8K internally with the R5, depending on your environment, it can actually overheat relatively quickly. And once it overheats, you're stuck without recording for a while. Now, could you imagine if I was recording in 8K with the R5 and editing? I'm going up in flames. I'm just kidding, of course, and I don't blame Canon too much for the overheating, as this is not a dedicated video camera. The R5 has a weathered seal body, and recording beautiful 8K takes a lot of processing power, which equals heat, and a lot of heat gets trapped inside the camera. Thankfully though, there is now a solution to these 8K related problems. That solution comes from a company called Atomos. Now, Atomos has made great recorders that I love for years. I'm actually recording this video with the Shogun 7 over here, and they have just released a brand new recorder called the Ninja V Plus that supports recording in 8K. And very specific to my use case with the R5, thankfully they've partnered with Canon to allow the Ninja V Plus to not just record 8K ProRes, but 8K ProRes Raw. This means we can have 8K in a more edit-friendly format with the capabilities that RAW provides, such as the ability to adjust ISO and white balance while editing with an NLE such as Premiere or Final Cut Pro. How awesome is that? Now, just for a little more icing on the cake, Canon and Atomos are also giving us 5K cropped in ProRes RAW. Now you may be wondering, why do you need the ability to record in 8K? 4K is good enough, right? True, 4K is good enough while viewing for sure. With 8K though, you get the ability to crop in or zoom in 4 times and still retain 4K quality. I record all kinds of things, including wildlife and my kids, which you may describe as wildlife at times, playing sports. You know what is very common with capturing that type of content? Complete unpredictability. I could think the animal's going one way, and then it's like, nope, I'm going this way. And when filming my kids playing sports, I might as well be blindfolded at times because they are just like all over the place. With 8K, I can film with a wider shot and crop in during post to frame things closer to exactly how I want. I also can get like nerdy with like the rule of thirds and all of that. If I need 1080p, I can actually crop in 8 times, and that is huge and prevents a lot of frustration. Another benefit of 8K is the ability to stabilize the footage while editing. This is similar to the reframing I was just talking about. To stabilize while editing, you need some like buffer space around your subject to allow the software to crop in to remove the shakes and unwanted movements. Recording in 8K allows that while maintaining at least 4K quality depending on how much I decide to crop. Now you video nerds or experts may be wondering, what is the bit depth of this 8K and 5K footage recorded with the Atomos? With 8K, it is 10-bit, and with 5K, it is 12-bit. That should be plenty for most cases. If you're unfamiliar with bit depth, to put it simply, the higher the number, the more colors and information is captured. With more data being captured, you can adjust your footage further without it completely falling apart while you're editing. With the higher bit depth, you also have less chance of color banding. Banding is when you can see a distinct separation of colors within the same general color. So for instance, let's imagine the sky. If the bit depth is too low, you may see a clear distinction between the different shades of blue. Now I can hear you asking now, well, can you record in 4K 120p? Because that's like the hottest thing ever now, or even 2K 240 ProRes or ProRes Raw? Yes, this recorder supports it, but not currently with the R5. 4K 120 ProRes Raw is supported with the Sony FX6 and FX9 if you buy like a $69,000 attachment. I'm just kidding, it's like $2,500 or so. But yeah, it's supported on those cameras. To know what cameras support what resolutions, it's always best to check out the Atomos website for the latest camera support. And that is key, guys. Atomos has to work with like all these manufacturers and is continually enhancing their software to expand the supported resolutions and frame rates. So keep an eye on their website for the latest info. Also be aware that specific support comes down to the recorder's modules I'll be covering in a bit as well. Meaning, for the 4K 120 with the FX6 and FX9, you need to use an SDI connection from the camera to the Ninja V Plus. I think a good rule of thumb is basically anything with a frame rate greater than 60, resolution greater than 4K, or involving RAW, be sure to check out the Atomos website or contact Atomos to verify what is supported with what type of connection. Now you may be thinking, Justin, all that information is cool and stuff, but do you actually have the Ninja V Plus? Thought you'd never ask. Son, in with the Ninja V Plus, please. Ah, thank you, son. Oh, whoa, wait, while you're here, have a seat, have a seat. Now, while you're here and with us covering a Ninja recorder, why don't you show them the Ninja Ramen merch that we recently dropped? Check this out, guys. How cool is that? Now, my kids and I have been working hard on this, so if you check it out at jk4k.com/ninjaramen, we'd really appreciate it. Why don't you show them the back as well? There's like all different designs and all different colors and stuff, so if you checked it out, we'd really appreciate it. All right, thanks, bud. So friends, not only do I have the Ninja V Plus, but I have the Ninja V Plus ProKit, which has extra goodness that I'll be covering with you today. To add, this will be just the first of a variety of videos I have planned around the Ninja V Plus, so please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And I have like 4 subscribers, and it's embarrassing. My mom doesn't even look at me. So please sub. Thank you. And also, please know I'll have links down in the description to everything I cover today. All right, enough talk and on with the unboxing. Now, as I'm going through this, please check the comments down below for any corrections I'll try and call out in the future. So again, here is the front of the box, and here is a better view. Here is also the back of the box where you can see some of the key specs. Feel free to pause here if needed. All right, now let's get this thing open. Now check out how this thing is sealed. Very nice. Pretty much guaranteed that no one has tampered with your Atomos with having to tear the box open. So let's go ahead and tear it open. There we go. You can open up the box now. You can see how everything is laid out, which is very nice. I'm gonna go ahead and take out the individual included items. Set this to the side. All right, so I think this box is just to keep everything organized. So don't need that. All right, so let's start with the main box here. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. Pardon the sound effects. All right, very nice presentation here. Let's see. This opens up, you see the atomos.com website, and here we have the main case. It's got some nice zippers here. So I'm gonna go ahead and unzip it. Now, as we open it, we see we have the Atomos recorder up here at the top, and this is the Ninja 5 Plus, of course. Here on the front, it says download the latest software and register for a 3-year warranty. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel this off since it's kind of coming off anyways. And the device itself feels really nice in the hands. It feels very high quality. All right, so on the top, you can see it has the 1/4 20 adapters that are already screwed in. We can unscrew those and have the 3/8 by 16 as well. All right, so over here we have the power button. We have the mic line input. This device supports up to 8 channels of audio. We also have the headphone out here and a place where you can connect a remote. Then on the back, we have where you can slide the battery or some of the adapters, and the SSD caddies go here. Then over here, we have the HDMI in and out. And up top, you can see we have the vent for the airflow, and this is what it looks like on the bottom. Continuing on, I can tell you this is a very nice case with different straps and everything. Very cool. Here we have the battery eliminator, which is nice. I'll go ahead and pop that in. That fits in very snug. And here we have the Master Caddy 2 and the screws you use to put an SSD inside of here. You can see you just put it in and screw it in on the sides. And then this, of course, just slides in on the back. Really easy to use and everything. Next, we have the, looks like we got the AC adapter right here. It's nice. And a variety of converters depending on where you live. With me being in the US, this is the one that I'll be using. And to put it on, you just line everything up and twist it in like so. And of course, the AC adapter plugs into the battery eliminator like so, and you can screw it in and have a very robust connection. As you can see, the cord itself is pretty long, which is nice. The sleeve itself does have a decent amount of padding to it. I'd say it's about 1/8 of an inch or so. All right, so I've got the Ninja 5 Plus plugged in. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on for you guys and hold it up to the microphone. All right, so this is what it sounds like with no recording going on. Yeah, so during idle, it's actually really quiet. I got a drive right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and slide that on to the Ninja. All right, so I have the Ninja 5 Plus plugged in to a Canon camera, which is the XF400. Think of it as like the baby brother of like the new XF605. But anyways, in terms of dimensions, the recorder itself is around 5.9 inches by 3.6 inches by 1.2 inches. Now, the touchscreen is a Super Atom IPS panel, and it is capacitive touch, so it's very responsive. The display dimensions are 5.2 inches. The resolution is 1920 by 1080 with a PPI of 427. So that actually makes it higher than what is in a Retina display. The display looks super clear and beautiful. In terms of bit depth, it is a 10-bit panel, which is nice, and the backlight type is edge lit. In terms of brightness, it is 1000 nits, and that is pretty bright, guys. So you should be able to see pretty well while you're out in the sun. And when you're 1000 nits, that's basically equivalent to 1000 candles. The color gamut is Rec 709, and this display actually comes pre-calibrated, which is nice. You can actually also calibrate the display yourself. You need to purchase a special USB cable that Atomos sells and an X-Rite i1 Display Pro or Plus, and then go and download and use the Atomos calibrator software. And with this being a super high quality monitor, it of course comes with all the features you're expecting, like magnification, different waveforms, focus peaking, and more. In terms of dynamic range, this display supports 10 plus stops of dynamic range when using your camera's log image thanks to Atom HDR. You can also load one of 8 custom LUTs onto this device to see what the final output is going to look like while you're recording. You can see you can use the LUT during record, during output, and it also has compare functionality. Now you may be wondering, how is this recorder able to handle recording in 8K or 4K 120p? That is thanks to the new Atomos silicone, which is inside of this, which is called the Atom IC3. And that processor has roughly 2 times the processing power that was in the regular Ninja V. I want to say that with just sitting here and using it as a monitor, the fan is on, but it is very quiet. It is much quieter than I was expecting. So here you can see with the decibel app, I'm holding it about 8 inches away or so. I actually mostly just hear my Shogun 7, and that is a quiet recorder. Now, in terms of actually how loud the Atomos is while recording, I plan to make another video all around that. So please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Now let's go over the SDI module that I received because this comes in the ProKit. All right, so let's go ahead and open up the Atomos SDI module, and got the module here. And what is awesome is this has 2 full-size BNC connectors. Now, what's awesome about these connectors is they are not HG, 3G, 6G, but they are actually 12G. So you're going to get that full 12 gig a second connection. And of course, it is backward compatible. This is also required, just so you know, for the RAW over SDI. RAW over SDI is supported with these connections if you have the license, which is included with the ProKit. In terms of inputs and outputs, there is a lot of flexibility with this thing. Single link SDI connections are supported, and the device will actually auto-configure based on the input between 12.6 and 3G or HD. You can actually also connect 2 SDI inputs to the module and switch between which one you would like to use on the Ninja's interface. The module also supports a dual link connection up to 6G with supported cameras. You can also have an SDI in and an SDI out for monitoring. Now, before continuing, I actually want to connect this to the Atomos device. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, now to expand upon outputting, you can have an HDMI connection coming in and also output to both SDI ports. You can also output to the HDMI output port as well while outputting to the SDI ports during playback mode, thus providing 3 simultaneous output connections up to 4K 60. So notice how I talked about HDMI in and SDI out. And that leads into the cross-converting capabilities that this module and device supports. You can basically cross-convert in any way from what I gathered between HDMI in and out. I'm not sure if you can do that with all the resolutions and frame rates, such as 4K 120p SDI in. I don't know if that would be able to output through the HDMI port. It may get down converted to 4K 60p or not outputted at all. Please comment down below if you know. What is also cool is the Atomos with the module will convert the footage as necessary based on the device connected, meaning it can do things such as downscale resolutions and crop DCI without additional converters. Can I get a nice? Thank you. While outputting, you can apply a LUT to the output to allow people to see the final output. Some of the information may have been confusing, so I'll probably put some information and diagrams on my website, so make sure you subscribe to my jk4k.com RSS feed so you don't miss that. Now, with the Caddies being used for recording, I do recommend, if you can, to get the 2 terabyte SSDs. I've used the Samsung Evo drives and also the crucial M500 drives at the 2 terabyte size and have not had any problems. So I highly recommend those drives. If you'd like to check out the Evo drives, please visit jk4k.com/evo. They've been, as I was saying, super reliable and I've had just like no problems at all. If you're going to be recording a decent amount with your Atomos recorder, I highly recommend just going ahead and getting a master Caddy pack. That way you can just go ahead and put drives in the Caddies as you acquire them over time. And then you can have a set of drives available that'll make your whole workflow a lot better. If you're interested, they actually have drives that fit the Atomos exactly right, so you don't have the Caddy sticking out of the side, but please be aware you do pay a premium for that form factor. Now you may be wondering, how much record time do you get when you're actually recording at this new 8K 30 or 5K 60 resolution in ProRes Raw? Pretty much you're going to get around 40-ish minutes with a 1 terabyte drive, or you'll get around 50 minutes at 5K 60 if you're not recording in ProRes Raw HQ, just like the regular ProRes Raw. And this is why I recommend, if you can, again, try to just save up or whatever if you need to get the 2 terabyte drives, so you're not always worrying about drive space as much. It'll make your life a lot better. That is the thing, when you're recording in these formats such as ProRes Raw, the files are massive, but that is what allows you, like this specific format, to edit your footage very easily, because so much information is in each individual frame and that minimizes the work that your computer has to do. So the trade-off is well worth it in my opinion. Now I want to cover the different powering options with the Ninja V Plus. It supports right out of the box using the Sony NPF batteries. If you've been creating a while, or of course have used certain Sony devices, you'll probably already have one of these because they're really common. Just slides right on the back, pops right in, and you're ready to go. Now, some other options are, of course, the battery eliminator, which I showed you earlier, which is right here, and this slides right on the back, of course, like so, as I showed. Very easy to put on and take off. And another option is DC to D-Tap cable that comes with the ProKit. And I highly recommend getting one of these, whether or not you get the ProKit. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And we have the cable here itself. And you may be wondering, how in the world do I use this thing? Well, let me show you. You basically take your Atomos device, put the battery eliminator on, and take off the power adapter. Take the cable and put that where the power adapter was. And this plugs into a D-Tap port on such as a V-mount battery. If you don't have a V-mount battery, I highly, highly, highly recommend them. This one I have right here is a newer battery, and it's been great for me. What's awesome about these is they come in different sizes, and they have, of course, a ton of battery power in them, so they will last a very long time. So I've got it connected. You can hear the Ninja powering on. And you see this battery will give me many hours of power to the Atomos. You can connect this to your rig or your tripod and not even pretty much have to think about power, compared to these batteries where you're probably going to get roughly around 40 minutes if you have a large one. I do want to add that with these V-mount batteries, what's also cool is you can power multiple things at the same time. Now, another recording option is to record in HEVC, because this comes with the H.265 free to download license, and it can provide you with 10-bit recordings in 422. You can also record in 8-bit 422 or 420 as well. And that is especially awesome if you have one of the new M1 Max, because they are awesome to edit HEVC footage. Now, in terms of bit rates with HEVC, the XQ will give you bit rates of up to 350 megabits a second. The MQ will give you up to 200 megabits a second, and the LQ will give you up to 100 megabits a second. Now, there's actually one more thing I want to show you that you get with the ProKit, and that is the Ninja V Sunhood right here. So let's go ahead and get this open. Comes in this plastic bag. Now, even though the actual display is super bright, there may be some situations where like the sun is hitting the screen just right and it's still kind of hard to see. That's where this shade will come into play. So I'm going to take this out. Let's see. Got some foam here. All right, so we have the outer shell here, and we have this piece that actually does the shading. It just fits right in. Now I'm going to put it in these holes you see right here. Just fits right in. And then pops right on. And there you go. Now you have shading for your Atomos. Very cool. And also note how it has a cutout at the bottom, which is nice. You'll never see me doing this, because I definitely can't see this close anymore. But it's cool to have as an option. I'll be more like this. All right, so you may be wondering, now what do I get if I get the ProKit versus the regular kit? So just to recap really quick, you get the SDI module, of course, with the raw over SDI license, which is awesome. You get the D-Tap cables, so you can use the extremely useful V-mount batteries. And as I just showed, you get the sunshade, so you can see better in those extremely bright situations. Now, this is basically close to $500 worth of items if you bought them separately, and they only charge, I think, around $200 more. So in my opinion, that is a great deal if you're going to use these. Now, before we conclude, I'd like to cover some additional accessories I think you should really consider when it comes to the Ninja V Plus. First is the AtomX Sync timecode module. The sync module can be stacked on top of the SDI module to give you some amazing time sync capabilities. Atomos has a variety of UltraSync products and applications that support a variety of devices to allow you to capture video and sound and easily sync them all together during editing. I'll be making some future videos with this sync module and this UltraSync Blue device, so make sure you keep an eye out for those videos. Now, when it comes to actually connecting these master caddies to the computer, I use these exact cables on the regular to get the proper speeds, so I highly recommend these. If you have a Thunderbolt port there's one for that. And if you have the Type A USB port, there's one for that as well. The key is to make sure you have the proper USB speed if you're not using Thunderbolt. Now, something else that is extremely useful is one of these adapters right here. What is super awesome about these is they can continue to rotate around. So not only do they hold your monitor, but they can spin freely after they're connected. So let me show you. I'm going to connect this. Now I'm going to put it on the R5 right here. There we go. So now I have the Ninja mounted, but look, I can just spin this as I need to, and this is not going to come off unless magically, of course, the screw in there gets loose. But you can see how I can just sit here and rotate the monitor. I won't be able to, of course, spin freely once the HDMI cable is connected, but you can see that I can go back and forth, and there's nothing that I have to tighten and loosen repeatedly. It just makes your life very easy. If you're like vlogging or need to be in front of the camera, you can adjust it. And then as you go back behind, you can just swivel it back around and you're good to go. When it comes to HDMI cables, I do recommend these from ZILR or Ziller. I'm not sure how you say it correctly, but if you have the R5 and plan to record 8K, you want to make sure you have the proper cable that supports it. And I believe this one does. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that now. Go ahead and plug the input right here. And the HDMI is over here. There's also an adapter you can use that I recommend. I just don't have it right now. All right, so you can do something like this. You can have the display facing you while you're recording footage, or if you need to be in front of the camera, it's easy to rotate and you are good to go. All right, so I have the HDMI raw output on. And when it comes to setting the quality, you can see the raw is enabled right there. If I pick the other ones, everything else stays the same. And then here you can see I can choose the different frame rates between 29, 24, and 23. If I want to shoot in 5K 30, I turn this on and go here. And here you can see I can do 5K at 60 and the different frame rates. All right, now you can see it says raw signal detected. ProRes Raw codec selection is required to view this signal, and press OK. All right, and now you can see we are getting a warning saying that the screen and enclosure may get hot, so it's expected. Just be careful, pretty much. All right, guys, so we have the R5 set up with the Atomos Ninja V Plus. Got everything connected, so let's go ahead and hit record. And there we go, guys. We are actually recording in ProRes Raw 8K 30 with the R5. I mean, look at this. I never thought I would be able to record with something so compact externally in 8K with basically unlimited recording. That is amazing, and I really thank Atomos and Canon for putting in the hard work to give us something like this to create footage with. It's just amazing of them. So thank you so much to them and their teams. Here's what you'll see on the R5's display if you're interested in that. All right, guys, I'm gonna go spend some time with this new beast of a setup. I'll be making some videos in the future based on my experiences and things like that. Now, please remember, I'll have links down below to the items covered today. It would also be awesome if you took some time to check out the merch, as I greatly appreciate it. Please like this video if you found it useful, and please comment down below with any questions you have, because I'd love to help you out. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Peace. JK4K. JK4. But now there's 8K. Good problems to have, I guess.